I've been having cravings for ribs for a while now, so I went out to my local grocery store. I picked up these 2 racks of ribs, and I also picked up this pork butt.
If you watched a lot of my previous videos, I use a lot of the McCormick grill mates. Um, those is just because it's more of convenience. They're there, but this is actually the one I use exclusively for my ribs. I've tried a lot of different variations, even my own concoctions. They just don't come out as good as this one.
So I'm just getting the charcoal started, warming up my grill, then I'm going to go back inside and prep the ribs. I'm putting my temperature probes in just to monitor the temperature while it's warming up. You don't want to get these grills too hot because it's very hard to bring them back down in temperature.
Kind of tough. You can cook the ribs with these, but this blocks the smoke, and the texture is a little tough.
After I prep the ribs, I give it a quick rinse and then I put on the grill.
Now you want to put a very good coating on it and rub it in.
So I cut a piece off that's going to go into the air fryer. The grill is now warmed up, so I'm going to set it up.
I wasn't recording.
So I'm taking everything out just so I can show you how I set up my grill. I don't like the deflector plate that the Pit Boss comes with, so I created my own. I found this pizza stone online, and it's like the perfect size that fits right in there, and it's a great heat deflector. I normally have this all set up before it was smoking, but since I forgot to record it, I had to take it all out, and it's becoming a little difficult to set it up.
Fits in there really well. The wood's already starting to smoke.
I'm trying to do this quickly because I don't want the temperature to get too high. Again, once it gets too hot, it is very difficult to bring it back down. So while I was setting up my grill outside, I preheated the air fryer.
Increase it to 60 minutes. 60 minutes at 225. I think I should put like a piece of tin foil over it. That way it doesn't have direct heat on it. And I'll hold it in the front. The back went up. You know what? I'm just gonna leave it. So if you have this grill from, I got this from Costco. It's called the Pit Boss. I think there's an older version that has these wooded winglets or tables. I don't know what you call those. And the handle is wood. Notice the handle. This is actually mold. They didn't really seal it very well, and over time it didn't take very long, it just molded up. These look the same too. I had to sand it all down re-stain it and then put my own clear coat on it, you can still see, you know, within the grains it has some kind of like green tint to it. That's where the mold was. It probably started maybe 2 months after I got I put this outside. It never got rained on. It didn't get wet. It just molded with the humidity, I guess. I didn't even call Pit Boss until after a year. I've had this probably about 2 years now, and of course it's no longer in warranty, so they weren't going to do anything about it. So just my advice: if you get one of the older models with the wooded or with the wood, take care of it immediately. If it starts molding, call it in. They'll service it really quick. Recently, I think a couple months ago, I was at Costco. I saw, I guess, a newer version. It looks like they're using plastic now. It's like black plastic instead of the wood. So, what I've had to do with my grill, setting this up to be at 225, is first of all, never trust this gauge. This thing is always off, and the higher the temperature, the more off it'll be. So you can see where I have the probes and the temperature. I'm at 237, 228 now. We got a little bit hotter, and this is only at like what, one, trying to block the glare, one, I don't know, 70, 75-ish. So yeah, first of all, never trust this. And then to get about 225, notice the top. I barely have it open, just a little crack. And then on the bottom, I barely have that open as well too. And I've made ribs probably about 20 times in this thing, and it's always almost had to be set this way to get it around 225. This thing is not very airtight, so I'm not sure how much air is actually getting sucked in around this as well. But normally, just have it open just barely, like 1 millimeter, I guess, an eighth of an inch. Same with the top, and that should give you a good 225.
And once you get the temperature set, you pretty much just forget about it. Once the grill went up to temperature, I put all the meat in. My battery died in the camera, so I wasn't able to record it.
So it's been 2 hours. This is normally where I take it out and I wrap it up. So we'll take a look at it, see what it looks like. For 2 hours, I guess that looks okay. Of course, there's no smoke, so it doesn't have that bark to it, but I don't know, it's looking all right. Let me wrap it up. You know, normally I pour in apple juice in there and it really softens it up, but I forgot to get apple juice, so I just let it cook in its own juices.
So I do the same thing with the ribs in the grill. I pull them out and wrap them up. It's great. Peace.
See, I just came back in after wrapping them up, and what happens every time you open it, you're letting a lot of extra oxygen, and that causes the charcoal to burn. So you can see it's getting very hot and the temperatures are starting to rise. So I was able to run to the store and I picked up some apple juice. Based off my experience, you want to get real apple juice, not anything that's from a concentrate or has any other weird ingredients. What happens is those turn into like a thick syrup and it just gets all over the ribs and it just doesn't come out very good. So get the real stuff. So this has been 2 hours not in the foil, hour and a half in the foil. I normally only put about 2 hours in the foil, but I want to get some apple juice in here. Ooh, that's hot. and I'll let it go for about another hour, hour and a half maybe. There we go. So just like the air fryer, these have been in the foil for about an hour and a half now. I'm going to take them out and put some apple juice inside the foil. It's been 5 hours now. I took these out and I'm gonna put some barbecue sauce on top of it and put it back in for another hour. So it's been smoking for 2 hours. It was in foil without apple juice for an hour and a half. Then it was in the foil with apple juice for another hour and a half. Then I'm gonna put it back in the oven for another hour. So that will total about 6 hours. For baby back ribs, that should be enough. These were St. Louis. 6 is sometimes enough, but sometimes it has to go 7. So see what I mean with the apple juice? It's still a liquid. It doesn't really reduce. Whereas that the fake apple juice, this would be a really thick syrup. And you definitely don't want that. Looks very, very moist. And that should be it. Wow, actually looks pretty good.
And now I'm pulling the ribs out of my grill.
Look at the difference between the smoked ribs and the air fried ribs. Almost look the same.
I like my ribs very soft and juicy and to be able to fall off the bone, but not to the point where I can't handle it, but I want to be able to pick it up, take a bite of it, and all the meat is coming off the bone without me having to do any extra work. If you don't want it this soft during that second phase when it's in the foil cooking, just don't put it in there as long, maybe 1 hour, 2 hour max. I usually go about 2.5, almost 3 hours. These are the ribs that were in the air fryer. I'm actually very surprised that air fryer cooked it very well. It's nearly identical to how the ribs came out of my grill. So these were the air fried ones, and this is the ones from my grill. And these are the air fried ribs, and as you can see, it just falls apart very easily. Before serving, I just put one more coat of barbecue sauce on it. The pork butt has been cooking for 10 hours.